So first, Jason, you obviously knew when you drafted him he was going to go on to be like the greatest ever, right? Clearly, you already knew.
100%. You know, when I first was hired, it was like January 24th to be exact, 2014.
But who's counting?
Yeah, who's counting? The Glazers hired me. I left my family, Blair, the kids in Arizona where we were living at the time. And I didn't know anybody that was on my staff really that well. So it was just me, and I got to know Mike Greenberg, our assistant GM who's here. And I would confide in him of who I was gonna pick with the first pick. And we needed a quarterback that year. So I was watching Johnny Manziel, and he was electrifying. I was so captivated by him, the greatest college quarterback of all time. But as I was watching him, Mike Evans kept showing up. And I finally told Mike Greenberg, it was about a week before the draft, that's who I'm gonna take. Day of the draft, I get a call from a team that offered me a pretty good deal to get our pick and move back. And I told the owners, I told Joel, Brian, and Ed, I was thinking about doing this, and they said, before you do it, you can do whatever you want, just how are you gonna feel in the morning when you don't have Mike Evans? And as much as my wife, who grew up in Cleveland, loves Cleveland, you're welcome for not going to the Cleveland Browns.
I love that. So, Mike, tell me, what were your expectations for your career? I mean, did you imagine this kind of longevity, consistency, something that basically almost no one has ever done before?
I've just always been super, super blessed. You know, the gifts that God gave me. I've always knew that I was going to be a great player. Like, I've had that on my mind. I'm one of the most competitive dudes that I've ever been around. Like, I always had high hopes for myself, but I never envisioned, you know, being in Tampa, playing this long. That moment right there was so special to me and my family, the fans, the team. It was a great moment to be a part of, but, you know, I'm blessed, and I'm looking forward to a great year this year and keep it going.
Yeah, anyone who's heard you argue LeBron versus MJ knows how competitive you are. That's all it takes, just get you on that subject. But tell me, okay, when do you remember first learning about this streak and when it was something you decided, like, this is something I could achieve that I want to chase and go for?
It was about year 3. So year 3, I started seeing the graphics. I think Randy and AJ Green did it 6 years to start their career. So I was chasing that one. I wasn't even chasing the Jerry Rice one, the most consecutive all time. I was just chasing that one. It was the first 6, right? Mm-hmm. And year after year, you see my name going up, and I see Jerry right there, Jerry Rice. I mean, that's insane. Like, literally, like 20 years, best receiver ever, one of the best football players ever, and to be, you know, tied with him is just, you know, remarkable.
It really is. It's amazing. And I know, Jason, we're going to talk a little bit more about specifically what the record meant, but what has Mike meant to this organization, team, locker room, wide receiver room in particular, that you've gotten to watch over the course of his whole career?
I mean, it's so hard to put into words. I mean, he's meant everything. He's what better person do you want representing our team, our city, our fans? I mean, he's in a flashy position. He does it in the most unflashy way, but is 100% heading to Canton, you know, at 100%. Some point.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's, I don't know. He just means, you're one of those guys that I know our family feels like we're very close with you, and we are, but we feel like it's like you're in our house every night, the way we talk about you. And I know that the fans in Tampa feel the same way.
So now, Jason, if you were going to write a scouting report on Mike now, and the idea of why he's the guy to have this streak, from a scouting perspective, tell me what it is about him that has made him uniquely qualified for this.
Well, number one, he already said it. He's one of the most competitive people you'll ever meet. He's got that Michael Jordan, Tom Brady eye to him that he wants to win at all costs. But when we're sitting around talking about, like in draft meetings and evaluating players, it's kind of fun to like look at a position, we'll say receiver here, and kind of cherry pick and say, well, if we could have this guy's hands, this guy's toughness, this guy's athleticism, and this guy's instincts, we would have a player. And you've always been told you can have it all, but just not all at once. Well, with Mike, you have it all at once.
So we saw up there, we hated to relive the part that was you injuring your hamstring, but it's
Part of the game.
Part of the game and part of this story that makes it even more epic because you had to be a little dramatic with how you finished the streak last year. Had to give that little extra flair.
I did it for the fans.
Yeah, you're normally very drama-free, but this particular thing had to be dramatic. So tell me, at what point after you injured your hamstring did the streak come to your mind of it potentially being in jeopardy?
Pretty quick. I knew.
Like at this moment when you're laying there, is that the moment?
Not when things cooled down. So probably the next day or two, I thought about it. I never really checked my stats during the season. I kind of always know where I'm at anyway. But I was like, all right, I have to check my stats and see. And when could I be back? I was looking at the calendar, and I was trying to get back sooner than when I got back. But the training staff had a plan for me, a really good plan. Shout out to the training staff. They did a great job of making sure I was ready to play when I came back.
And then what was it like for you to be dealing with injuries alongside Chris at that time and just I'm sure kind of added pressure of, like you said, trying to come back for the team as well.
Yeah.
But was it sort of nice to have a guy like him to be going through it with in that moment?
I mean, no, I didn't want him to get hurt at all. I mean, but he, I didn't want him to be hurt at all. But
glad we cleared that up.
For a week, honestly, I was worried about him more than anything, than the record, than the team success, or anything, because that's my brother. Yeah. And I just seen him playing his off at the end of an unwinnable game, and he gets hurt. He was having such an amazing season, man, and it tore me apart for a little bit, and I had to just calm down, go through my rehab, go through my process, pray. That helped me a lot during that time. My wife helped me a lot. And then talking to Chris helped me a lot. He was like, bro, don't worry about it. It's a part of the game. It happens, I'll be back. Go get your record and help this team get to the playoffs. So, we kept talking always. That's my brother. And he added extra motivation for me to get that record because he wanted it just as bad as I did.
I love that. And so, Jason, for you remember that moment when Mike goes down. What goes through your mind at that point?
Well, I guess the tame version would be, oh no, but it was.
I think you've seen tonight, we don't do tame versions here.
It was, But it wasn't, it wasn't so much, I think every fan can almost feel the same way. It wasn't so much the season's gonna, in jeopardy, which it was, but it was more you just felt for him. You felt for you. It was like when your own kid gets hurt, you wish you could trade places with him. It's like, I don't know, it's a very confusing feeling. It was Mike and Chris, same game. You just got your 100th touchdown that game too. So it was like could have been such a great game, and then that happens. It was like, oh, You just hope to wake up in the morning and things are better, and they weren't. So we just had to kind of grind through it.
Yeah, I think everybody here was willing to donate a hamstring that day if it would have worked. I think we would have all been getting in line. Yeah. So as we talked about this, going into the final game, Jason, we know the streak is at stake, but so are the playoffs. Again, drama. Tell me how much you guys talked about this going into the game of getting him the streak, getting the playoffs. How do we weigh these things? How much did this get talked about even prior to the game?
I'll be honest, it was kind of weird. Nobody really talked about it. We all knew that Mike needed that, and we all wanted that. Maybe in some one-offs and some one-on-one conversation you did, but not in groups. It was, you just kind of knew it was going to take care of itself. At least I did. I mean, I'm no rocket scientist, and I'm no coach. No offense, Coach Gruden, but you get Mike the ball, usually good things happen, And so we were hoping that would just kind of take care of itself.
So then, Mike, you talked about you don't typically keep up with your stats during the season, even though I'm sure fantasy owners are yelling at you about them all the time. But How were you going to be kept up to speed on it in that final game? Like, were there conversations about this of people in charge of telling you? Were you asking? How did you know?
I think you can see the stats in the corner of the end zones.
Yeah, that's why we have
So
this.
that's what I was kind of tracking it. It was a close game. Like, division games are always going to be tough. You know, every now and again you get a blowout here and there, but you know, our division, every division is going to be tough because we see each other so much and we know each other so well. And they had a really good game plan to stop the big plays from me. So we got back to the basics in the fourth quarter, and I was able to make 3 catches on that second to last drive when Bucky scored, and that helped us, you know, get the record.
One of the things that makes you both great and a fan favorite is that you have always cared more about winning than your own personal stats. What was that like for you in that moment to really, truly have them at war with each other potentially at that moment in the game?
Like Jason talks about, it's a confusing feeling, but in the moment, I'm just thinking about doing my job. Like you said, they're going to give me the ball, they did their job, and I'm just always wired to do my job and let everything else handle itself.
So then now I want both of you to answer this one. Jason, I'll start with you. What goes through your mind the moment Bucky scores?
Well, like Mike said, confusing. It was all like, no, that was supposed to be Mike. But then it was like, oh, we had to win. So, yeah, yay. How do we get the ball back? Like, I was up in my little box next to the press box. I was getting texts from Bruce Arians saying, "Get the ball back, call timeout." Like I'm calling plays, or I can go do that. You know, it was. Oh man.
You're like, BA, I think you've forgotten my role here. I'm up in this box. I love how basically everyone was having an existential crisis at the entire stadium. So for you, Bucky scores. What goes through your brain?
I definitely thought about the record. You know, I was happy that we scored, and you know, we're going to the playoffs. I was like, can't be it. And I had faith though. I was like, God got me. Thank you for everything. And I'm just, you know, saying that in my mind. And then Jalen McMillan comes up to me. He says, "You don't care about that record, do you, Mike?" And so the defense goes out there, and they have to try to score. The Saints had to try to score and then go for 2. So I knew we was getting the ball back, and we'd have at least, you know, a few seconds. I'd have an opportunity. So that was always in my mind. But I didn't even say nothing to J-Mac when he asked me that. Like, nothing at all. Like, I was happy, but I was just in the zone, just waiting for the opportunity to get that catch. And then after the game, I said, hell yeah, I care about that.
Yeah, that might be the biggest rookie mistake I've heard of with that question.
He was just so excited,
They say there are no dumb questions, but I mean, I love it. So, Jason, tell me, like, all right, so we talked about, you didn't really talk about it prior to the game, but now it comes down to that moment of like, any other situation, y'all are kneeling the ball. Like, it's not a question. How did the decision get made? Who is the person making the decision in that moment that we're going to give this ball to Mike, as much as it sounded like BA wanted to be the person making that decision?
Well, I have a good relationship with Todd, and I can tell you this: if I went down and told him what to do, that relationship would go out the window. So
yeah.
I was up, like I said, I was up in the press box, and then we score, and then I said, well, maybe I should make my way down there. You know, it's happy, we're hopefully make the playoffs. It completely left my mind that they could go down and score and go for 2 and tie this and then potentially go overtime and win. I was just wanting to get the ball back, if like a miracle for him to get the chance to get it. So I'm pushing people with wheelchairs and crutches out of the side. Women and children, get out of the way. I'm going. And I get down to the locker room, watching the TV in the elevator. I see they get like 3 plays in a row of 10 or 11 yards. I'm like, shh. And then once I got in the locker room, you know, we got the stop, so I just stayed in the locker room and watched it, and we jumped around like a bunch of school kids, and Brad Berlin and the equipment guys, and couldn't have been happier. We're all breaking out in tears. It was unbelievable. So I didn't see it live, but I waited for you to come into the locker room.
Yeah, I love it. Saw it on TV like a lot of us. That's great. So now, Mike, what do you remember? Okay, so like we get the ball back, which is amazing. You get in the huddle now, and I'm sure the play was essentially Mike. I'm imagining.
No, Baker wanted that so bad. He wanted it just as bad as me. He was like, Liam, he was in Todd and Liam's ear, and he was like, we gotta get Mike this ball. Like, what are we doing? Like, the playoffs. That's what he was saying. That's what he was saying. Me, I wasn't saying anything. I was just like, yo, just give me a target.
Amazing.
So we called a play, and I didn't like the initial play. I didn't. But luckily, we called a timeout, or they called a timeout. And we switched it up, so I went in motion, so they weren't able to double me. And then, Shep and J-Mac said good screens. Baker gave me a friendly ball. I knew I needed 5.
I think that the leading argument for you getting into Canton will just be that every single human in there knew you were getting the ball and you still got the ball, which is wild to me. So you get it, you make the catch, you know you've got it. Describe that feeling.
It was like a dream. It was really like a dream. Just hearing the crowd, I felt like they were lifting me up. Like the crowd was so loud and everybody was so happy. I felt like I was floating. One of the best feelings ever.
I love it. And Jason, we talked a bit about what he's meant to the franchise, but did you even learn in that moment his significance to the city and the fan base and his teammates and everybody even further?
Oh, for sure. I mean, we're witnessing one of the best to play at his position of all time and in real time. And to set a record is a special moment. It's rare. Like, there's people, you watch sporting events and see people set records and you're happy that you witnessed it and it's great, but sometimes you're not really happy for the person, but you're happy that you watched it. In this event, I mean, it couldn't be any better. It couldn't be any better because you're so happy for Mike and everything, all the work that he's put in.
Yeah, and Mike, I'm sure you've had no shortage of knowing how Bucs fans feel about you over the years. But for you, in that moment, were you even a little surprised by the reaction of, your teammates, the coaches, the whole staff, all the fans, the city? I feel like they were ready to throw another boat parade after that happened, which I'm sure you would have caught the trophy if we had. But did it even kind of deepen for you this idea of what you meant to this city and this fan base?
I always knew that they had mad love for me and my family. Since day one, they've always showed that, whether I was playing good or not. And they've always had my back. And, to hear that, it just made it all worth it. All the sprints, all the workouts, everything, they just made it all worth it.
It's amazing. All right, can we thank Jason and Mike for spending some time with us?